Hello. Hopefully people can. Hello.
Hear.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hear myself.
Hello.
Hear.
Hear myself echoing. Still no music. I don't know what happened to the music. Yeah, I have it open in the
Switching on the Discord.
So my wife Kitty is Mrs. Weird Friends, and Weird Friends are recombined stuffed animals. But yeah, just grab one. And she recently, since we got married by mail, technically, she just recently made me a wedding ring. It's a little blobfish. No, this was
nice.
Was a bit.
Now, when you say married by mail,
yeah,
are we talking like, is she from Russia?
I didn't get her by mail.
Okay,
but...
she didn't arrive in freight.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's due to COVID. Like normally we would have had to go to the courthouse and sign the documents, but due to COVID, they had stuff implemented so that we could just send it in. So yeah, I mailed in my marriage this time around.
What's the story on the necklace? You got a like kicky little necklace going on here.
Yeah, no, this is just a necklace I have. It's not like special.
Way to just piss on the necklace there.
I know. No, it's like almost everything I own is either secondhand or clearance. So it's one of those. I can't even remember where I got it. But Michael, do you want to get on camera? Is that an option for you?
Sure. Yeah.
So we have.
I guess
my
it's
lonely face in this nothingness.
I actually have to hit a button. I forgot about that part.
Oh
yeah.
no.
Well, I have to turn video on. I was like, sure, yeah, throw me on camera, but if I don't have my video live, you can't do much with it. So
we're going to read Drew's fiction first. And let me
Fiction makes it sound so grand.
We're going to read Drew's first novella, Dr. Whoarry Potter.
Thank you.
I stepped away for a bit. Did you already ask Drew if he wrote this as part of the Doctor Who Harry Potter crossover fanfiction challenge?
I did ask.
Okay. Yeah. And in
what did
classic
it say?
form, I got the assignment wrong. I always get the assignment wrong. But no, I just heard that Doctor Who Harry Potter, and I came up with a very short idea that has no legs, and I wrote that down.
Okay, so Michael, are you able to read this on the screen?
Yeah. Okay. I tried opening the file, and I'm on a computer that doesn't have like Microsoft Word or even OpenOffice installed, I think. And out of nowhere, Corel WordPerfect 8 popped up, and I was like, where the hell did that come from?
I can do it. Put me in.
But yeah, but it was like, your free trial has expired. And I'm like, yeah, Jesus Christ, isn't this a program from like 1997? So,
I can do it if you pay me.
But that's okay. So if it's on screen, we can do that.
Okay. I guess I'll do the author's note.
Sure.
What voice should I give this guy? I don't.
Yeah, do your best impression of me. I don't think I should hear this. Oh no.
I took my cue from the Millennium Boob and did as little research as possible. Could you hear that gasp from the background?
What?
See, Ryan, I don't think you were around for Millennium Boob. That was a fan fiction that Chesmeralda Thunderdome wrote. Definitely not Kitty. Definitely Chesmeralda Thunderdome. It was called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Legendary Tale of the Millennium Boob. Anyway, took my cue from Millennium Boob and did as little research as possible. See if you can guess which of these two intellectual properties I know next to nothing about. Dingus.
That was the gasp of a very upset Russian bride, is what I heard.
I'm gonna guess both.
It was another typical lunch period at Hogwarts. Harry Potter, Ron and Ginny Weasley, their twin brothers Fred and George, Draco Malfoy, Vincent Crabbe. Crabbe, is that how it's pronounced? It's been so long since I've.
Crabbe and Goyle were his henchmen.
Got it. I was like, is it Crabbe or Krabby? But that's SpongeBob, I think. Gregory Goyle, Luna Lovegood, Neville Longbottom, Seamus Finnegan, Oliver Wood, and let's say Cho Chang were all in the dining room. Seating chart available upon request. Smashing calorie after calorie of overly sweet and starchy magic food down their gullets with reckless abandon. Knowing its magicalness would prevent any of them gaining a single pound. Pretty much the whole gang was there. All but one. Hermione was off in the library, studying. She would maybe grab a bite later if time permitted. She missed having the time turner that Dumbledore had loaned to her, but she could make do because, magic. How many crutches does one person need? Hermione was deep into her intense study of every single subject that might possibly come in handy when a sudden blast of lasery lightningy light startled her from her books. She looked over her shoulder to see a woman.
What lightens things.
Right. She looked over her shoulder to see a woman, slight of frame and blonde of hair, breathing heavily and rushing toward her.
What are you on about?
Said Hermione, perplexedly.
I'm the doctor,
said the woman with confidence.
Doctor who?
Hermione asked.
Quite the deduction,
said the woman grinningly.
All those books in front of you aren't just for show. Who might you be, love? Oh, sorry. I'm Hermione. I'm named after the Greek goddess of plot contrivances. So, Kitty is trying to communicate something with me. What?
It fell off the entire bone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, sorry. I'm fine.
She ordered ribs. The pleasure's mine,
said the doctor before noticing Hermione's scarf draped over the back of her chair.
This is nice. I used to have one just like it. Speaking of clothing,
Hermione began as she scanned the doctor's wardrobe. Her clothes were baggy and tattered.
Why are you dressed like that? I'm afraid I'm a bit new to this body,
the doctor said with a slight chuckle. Ooh, slight chuckle. That's a drinking game.
Yeah. You used to be a man? Hermione. Sorry.
Hermione. Oh. Hermione exclaimed.
Here, obviously. What a horror show. Back. Switching genders is one of the worst things you can do. Nasty little turf you are, eh?
So this has got some social commentary in it as well.
Because of the J.K. Rowling.
Right.
Yeah.
Said the doctor, annoyed.
Yeah.
Did your parents raise you to have no empathy? More than likely.
Hermione replied.
My parents were both dentists, a profession known to attract sociopaths. Now we get to the true commentary.
Oh, yeah. Is her dad Steve Martin?
Yep.
They all want to do it in the chair. The doctor stares at Hermione for a moment.
It would be a waste of time to ask you if you noticed anything unusual, wouldn't it?
Asked the doctor.
It's a school of magic,
said Hermione.
The only thing that's unusual around here is when someone does a menial task manually. I was thinking more like aliens,
replied the doctor.
You mean immigrants?
Hermione inquired.
There's only 4 non-white kids in this whole school. Right.
Sighed the doctor.
Here's my situation. My TARDIS was stolen by a space hippie named Rufus. He's using it to help 2 teenage morons write a history report. Can you help me?
It's all coming together. It's all Hermione shook her head.
Car crash of references.
Of IPs, yeah. Sorry, I only offer my knowledge of absolutely everything to young men on their hero's journey.
The doctor turned to leave.
Goodbye, weirdo.
Then some Daleks or whatever came and killed them both.
The end.
Okay.
And what an inspiring tale it was.
You could tell when I got bored.
I'll admit, I was kind of waiting for a DeLorean to zoom by.
All right, logging
Well,
in.
that was that.
That was Drew's story, everybody. Let's give him a hand.
Yay!
Okay, logging in to inadvertently showing my email address, and just got a text from Tracy that Jesse's parents are apparently coming over, so
Okay.
So they're gonna join? Sweet.
So we've got Venom's New Beginning, Faerie Wars 1, The Six Kingdoms, or I just found a new Star Fox fan fiction that I'm pretty excited about. But let's keep going with the ones that we've got started. So which one are you feeling, Michael?
What
I'm really enjoying the Venom one.
Yeah, what chapter are we up to on the Faerie Wars one?
I think
Not
we're on
that
5.
far though. Yeah.
So there are 12, and I don't know. Like, I mean, I find it interesting, but it's also pretty damn dry. I am
Right.
I mean,
But
we
that's the
just
thing, it's like
encountered the gray fairies.
Right. I mean, it certainly feels like, well, it certainly could be dry like this through the entire thing. It is fan fiction, but like, I mean, it could get, crazier and everything. So
It was published in the Neopian Times, though. I don't think it's going to go too off the rails. But I mean, I'm wondering, I'm okay to keep going with it, but I'm wondering if we just want to jettison it. If we're less than halfway and it's fairly dry.
I mean, we were having fun with it last time.
Yeah, we were having fun with it. I mean, why don't we try at some point, either tonight or tomorrow or next week or whatever, the Star Fox one, and then if we like that one better than the other one, then maybe we could jettison the fairy one.
Right, we'll do this some sort of reality show where we vote a story off every week.
Fanfic Thunderdome.
Yeah.
2 fics enter, 1 fic leaves.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's do a chapter of this, and then we'll switch over to Venom.
So Faerie Wars Chapter 5, is that right?
Yes. Okay, Part 5. The girls have begun 4 days now. This isn't an author's note.
This is Morwen wrote.
Okay.
Okay, you want to do it
Morwen, right.
Morwen-y?
The old woman. The girls have been gone 4 days now.
Morwen wrote.
They should be returning within the next 3 or 4. My scrying bowl has, since the eve of their departure, been muddied and unclear when peering on the enemy tribe.
I should clean it soon.
I should probably stop peeing in it. My best conclusion is that the great evil took that place, and my apprentices walked through a wretched land. Of course, no harm shall befall them if what I have done is as I expected.
Through a Wretched Land is my favorite Bob Dylan album, by the way.
I'm also just picturing her just like she's just staring into her pudding cup.
My scrying bowl is so dark.
All I see is Bill Cosby doing horrible things.
There is still much to study of them, yet the time is failing. This entry has been prompted by the utmost importance. I have found a prophecy regarding my girls. Near us to the west is a dense forest labyrinth, and I have discovered something most marvelous about the location. It is the home of the oracles. Many have taken on the form of Neopet, which disgusts me, but nevertheless...
I would want to have Neopets in this Neopet fanfic.
This story is about fairies. Nevertheless, I was able to successfully project myself into the labyrinth and capture one. It was in the form of a being of light, the natural state of oracles, and I procured of it a most thrilling prophecy, which I shall proceed to record in detail. It appears that the days of the tribes are numbered.
I love that it's like, man, you know what fucking sucks? Neopets.
Yeah. There's nothing lower.
Literally, the only thing we've only seen of them is one of stone that's been turned to stone. Like,
yeah. Okay, now we're snapping back to the timeline that we may recall from last episode. Erased your names?
The Grey Fairy nodded.
They are vanished. They have never been.
She explained. Your voice is fine, but I picture it as Morrissey. I get sad sometimes. Is that all right?
Yeah. None of us remembers any of our names, and it appears the power of a fairy is tied to her name, as the old stories say. I don't know if you knew that, but they say that.
Nereza frowned.
Haven't there been gray fairies with names?
She questioned.
As according to the old stories.
The fairy looked over Nereza's shoulder at Uriel.
The light fairy is a story keeper, is she not? Ask her. So yeah, I think I did that voice wrong again.
Wow.
The light fairy is a story keeper. I don't know who's asking a story keeper, but a story keeper?
Well, it would be the dark fairy, right? Which is, yeah, I think you got the right voice there. So Uriel's frozen shock was rattled when the attention was drawn to her. She rubbed her arms and dared to step forward till she stood beside her sister. The sight of the gray fairies so close was unnerving.
What? Okay. Her sister is asking, so the same voice as before. What's all this, Ellie?
Her sister asked. Now that feels wrong. Oh, well, fuck, whatever. Uriel licked her lips nervously.
Well.
See, if it starts with well, then I picture it as Ronald Reagan, but that's okay.
Well.
She began.
The stories say there are many ways to make a fairy gray. One can lose one's wings and become gray, but still retain one's name. The loss of one's name also makes one gray. A lengthy period of great sorrow can do this as well, as can curses. Whatever way one is turned gray, the only cure is to give the fairy a new name. But that is not as easy as it sounds. Certainly not,
agreed the gray fairy.
A fairy is born with her name. It takes great power to bestow a new one. Can I not just give you one?
Nereza wondered.
It is not that simple.
Answered Uriel.
For fairies, anyway.
Nereza did not accept that answer.
I'm going to call you Joe.
I mean, why not? Can't hurt, right?
Well, I am going to try anyway.
She declared.
We must do all we can to help.
Uriel looked at her, puzzled. Was not the purpose of coming here to assert justice? Why would Nereza want to help these fairies when leaving them was more than enough punishment for what they did? Still, she stayed silent. She could ask later. Nereza took the gray fairy's hand in her own and closed her eyes. All of a sudden, she felt an empty blackness. At the same time, without understanding how, she knew exactly what to do. It was like a plot contrivancy sort of feeling. Something was stirring within her. It was as if she had known this all her life, as if the gift of naming was part of her very being.
Okay, hold on for
I
a
name
second.
you Ted.
Yeah. She's got the gift. Olivia's
Bluto
asking,
from Animal House. Her name is Otter.
Yeah. Olivia's asking what they need punishing for. It's because they killed these now gray fairies who were the fire fairy tribe, killed
They're the ones
Nereza
that
and
attacked.
Uriel's
Okay,
mother.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah.
And the fire fairies got denamed by the wraiths, right?
Presumably, I don't know if that was stated outright.
I don't think
but
it's been established. And I mean,
I
I don't know
originally
anything
thought
about
the
the
wraiths
raids,
killed
so
their
I don't know
mom,
if that was what.
Olivia, but apparently it was the fire fairies, and their motivation for doing that has not been made clear.
Right.
They just brushed it aside, saying like, "Oh yeah, sometimes fairies fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's moms are killed. You know, it happens."
Right. Yeah, well, sometimes they fight. Usually, nobody gets killed, so it's
Right,
basically
yeah.
just property destruction.
If you recall, it was that thing that I looked up, and it was phrased really like it indeterminately. Like you couldn't tell if it was saying like sometimes this happened or
Yeah.
this was even worse than what usually happened. It could be
Right.
that they were going to find the Rays to give them justice, and then the trail they followed led them to the wraiths attacking fire fairies. That might be it too, right?
No, I think they were pretty clear about them going to the fire fairy camp.
Okay.
Yeah, because they knew the fire fairies were like following them for like
Yes.
months.
Yep.
Because until they actually found out about them becoming gray, when they didn't. They talked about the wraiths, but they weren't like after the wraiths or anything like that. I think they're all pretty much like afraid of the wraiths. Or actually, one of them doesn't believe the wraiths exist. I think.
Correct, Uriel.
Yeah.
That's the light fairy, I think, the bad one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why we thought that maybe she is a wraith.
Did we think that? That works.
I remember that being brought up.
All right.
Because the way that it was written as to her belief in not believing them that seemed suspicious, but it's probably just bad writing.
Okay, so the gift of naming is a very part of Nereza's being. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. She searched through the blackness that was the gray fairy's spirit, and finding nothing, she settled herself in the center of it. Something bloomed within her, and she felt it cover her entire self until it was almost overwhelming. Channeling the power into her hands as if she'd done this hundreds of times, she felt it seep into the gray fairy, and the blackness began to glow. Something appeared on her tongue, hot and bright like an ember, and she said it. My Twitch is showing your browser encountered an error. Are we still live?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, okay, you're
maybe
back
some
now.
slight hiccup there, but okay. Nuria.
Okay, that's okay. I was like, I don't know where the hell we were, but that's where we are. Uriel and the other gray fairies had been watching intently as Nereza and the gray fairy whose hand she held began to glow with a bright pink light. Nereza said a word, and the gray fairy burst into flame.
Was that the goal?
Yeah,
I hope that was the goal.
luckily that's okay. It's like, unfortunately, she was not a fire fairy now.
Right. Well, she's not a fire fairy anymore, so
Now she has been born again. She's now Gandalf.
Right.
In
She's
flame.
an ash fairy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. The other gray fairies gasped and began to rush to their leader's side in an attempt to rescue her, but Uriel held up a hand.
Wait,
She said.
look.
They did, and saw that the fire engulfing their leader was reaching out into what looked like long wings. The rest of the fire disappeared inside the fairy, who was no longer gray, though not as she was before either. She had dark skin, and her wings were made entirely of fire. Nuria and Nereza opened their eyes.
Thank you, Nereza,
said Nuria. There was a power behind her voice that seemed to make the very air tremble.
I know not of your methods, but you have rescued me from a woeful future. I would be honored if you might do the same for the rest of my tribe, and in return, we shall ally ourselves with you.
Nereza was a little stunned.
You are most welcome,
she said.
And I thank you. The Morwenna tribe will appreciate friends.
We don't know what her name is yet.
No, it's Nuria.
Oh, okay. I thought they hadn't said it.
Okay. You are mistaken. We will have nothing to do with the tribe run by Morwen, the Light Fairy. We shall ally ourselves with you and you alone. We are to replace Morwen as Fiora,
Uriel put in suddenly.
The both of us. We do not know when that is, however.
Nuria bowed her head to Uriel.
Then when that time comes, we shall befriend your tribe. Until then, it shall be only to Nereza.
Uriel was insulted and put her fists on her hips. Oh, she's going into the Janeway pose.
I will have you know that I am more powerful a magical practitioner than my sister. If she can give back names, then so can I.
She stormed over. She's going to turn somebody into stone. It's going to be a very awkward end to the evening. She stormed over to another one of the gray fairies and snatched up her hand. The fairy looked at her nervously. Uriel closed her eyes and focused. Nereza watched, somewhat sheepishly. She almost wished Uriel would fail, so she would have a wondrous ability which her sister would not, but cast away the thought. She would not be envious or spiteful of Uriel. That was unthinkable.
Well, apparently not.
You just thought it.
Ember.
Also, she's being spiteful now. So like, I'm just imagining you're asshole, you're shitheel, you're douchebag. But it works. So that's their real names.
There you go. Said Uriel.
Sean Spicer.
Said Uriel, and the fairy, like Nuria, was swallowed by fire, which she then absorbed. She was every bit a normal fire fairy, but she was a fire fairy nonetheless. Okay, that's an odd way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Despite
that's
herself,
an elaborate way to phrase something boring.
Despite herself, Nereza felt her stomach sink in bitter disappointment.
Ha!
The light fairy twirled to face Nuria, smirking triumphantly.
See? Break.
Toot toot. After all the gray fairies had been healed, Nereza and Uriel were exhausted. They were given beds for the night, and the newly made Nuria tribe offered them provisions for their journey the next day. Nuria decided to move her tribe far away from this cursed spot, and gave the sisters a small glass sphere with a living flame inside.
Should you ever have need for us,
she said,
merely break this sphere, and we shall come. We are heading into the deserts now. These plains are far too temperate for us, and we have no reason to follow your tribe any longer.
On the travel home, Nereza... Okay, what was the reason before?
I
mean, if they were...
Well, they were the one that attacked
Never
them.
established.
So they were... Yeah, you're right. We still don't know why.
Yeah,
Other than
because
the
it's
fact
like...
that they're just enemies.
Because like if they were going to attack again, the longer they wait, the stronger these guys get. So
and they waited like I think 5 months at least.
Yeah.
I think is what it said.
Yeah.
And so like, and they're just like going from place to place and everything. So it's like, why are you waiting? I don't like.
Yeah. On the travel home, Nereza and Uriel discussed their newfound power. Uriel referred again to old stories, which reminded her sister of what Nuria had called her, a story keeper.
What did she mean by that?
Nereza asked.
I don't know how she knew,
replied Uriel.
But Morwen told me once that I have a gift for stories. Namely, I can record them in my mind and never forget them, without ever having to write them down. I do not know if it is a magical gift or simply mundane, but that is all it is.
So she's like Mary Lou Henner? Just remember everything anyone has ever told you?
Yeah.
Is
Apparently.
I think
Yeah, apparently that's
I
true
suspect
about
she might have an eidetic memory.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is.
she called it the Betamax spell.
All right.
Mavis is freaking out. So what stories do you have regarding name giving?
The light fairy shrugged.
I know little about it, save that the ancient fairies were rumored to have that ability. It may have only been one of them, but I don't actually know. I thought you knew everything about every story that you ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's
Morwen has not been generous in talk of the ancients, and I cannot decide whether it is because she is withholding information or if she simply knows nothing more. Somehow,
so she didn't talk about the ancients, but you know about all these ancient stories.
Yeah, this is a
Doesn't
real
make
catch-22 here.
Somehow, I have a
Right, I
feeling
know.
it is the former.
Nereza murmured. There was a period of silence, after which Uriel asked,
Why did we help them? Wasn't the goal to punish them? Justice and all that?
Nereza stared at her.
You jest, surely. They had been turned gray by wraiths. We had to help them. But they're our enemy tribe. Morwen won't approve, you know. I don't care if Morwen disapproves,
said Nereza hotly.
It was the right thing to do. That is all there is to it.
They arrived home days later to welcoming arms and an oddly impatient Fiora. Morwen ushered them away from the crowd and into the tent where she demanded they tell all. Nereza was inclined to say little, but Uriel babbled away, bragging about their accomplishment. One thing she did omit, much to Nereza's surprise, was Nuria's gifting of the sphere to them.
I see,
Morwen said.
Well, while I do not understand your insistence on saving our enemy tribe, Nereza, I am intrigued by this new power you two have discovered.
The dark fairy scowled. Why was she getting blamed? Uriel had been just as eager to help them after the initial buzz of arrogance had worn off.
Meanwhile, certain events have prompted me to initiate you two as Fiora as soon as possible.
Then she stabbed a dagger into her heart.
Yeah.
This caught them both by surprise.
What do you mean?
Asked Uriel.
Is something happening? Are you all right? I'm perfectly fine,
replied the Fiora.
I will explain it all in good time. I will still... we're hearing a little bit of like rustling noise or something from somebody's
like a
mic.
scraping noise.
Yeah. I don't know what
I know what that is. Here, I got it.
Okay, cool. I will explain it all in good time. I will still be here for guidance if you need it after you have taken on the position. Now, we cannot afford to waste any more time. Get yourselves ready. I shall assemble the tribe. Now?
Now? The sisters exclaimed.
Yes, now. Be outside within 10 minutes.
Without another word, she left the tent. Uriel and Nereza looked at each other in amazement. Then they smiled.
It's about time,
said Uriel with a laugh.
Let's go change into less traveled clothing.
I love that we're all just deeply interested in it. We're all very invested in this Neopets lore here now.
I'm just picturing that, like, her real reason is she wants to just go on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, Grandma's got tickets for an elderly singles cruise in Florida. So, noodles.
I have some news.
Morwen announced. Good news, everybody. The tribe waited with anticipation. If the Fiora had gathered them all, it must be something important.
The time has come at last for me to retire from my post as your Fiora.
Fervent, excited chatter broke out. Only Uriel and Nereza remained silent. Nereza felt her sister's hand slide into hers, and she looked at her curiously. The Light Fairy gave her a reassuring smile, and Nereza felt herself smile back. They squeezed each other's hands. This was it. They were finally going to become the Fiora together.
Sounds like they're about to start making out.
As you all know.
All of a sudden, this became a romance novel.
Shipping.
My lovely apprentices, Uriel and Nereza, daughters of the late Demelza, have been training with me for this position for most of their lives. The honored role of Fiora is one that belongs to those who are wise, are just, are merciful, and are powerful. The Fiora is the protector of the tribe and its secrets, is the leader of the tribe, and gives the tribe its name. As of this moment, we are no longer the Morwena tribe.
Nereza could feel her sister trembling with excitement, and was rather giddy herself. It had been decided long ago that the new tribe name would be a mixture of hers and Uriel's. After a long list of possible names and a subsequent debate, they had settled on Ureza.
I understand.
It sounds like, what was it in Twilight when she named her kid a terrible name with two things mixed up?
What was that name? Oh, that's driving me nuts.
I don't remember. It was the dumbest name ever.
I don't remember either. I didn't get that far in the movies.
I watched the last one. Renesmee.
That sucks so bad.
Another
Watch the last Twilight.
Yeah.
Another name that kind of sounds like it's another, like it's being said backwards.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That's just real quickly. That's my favorite part about the final. No, it's not my favorite part, but no, it is my personal favorite part about the final movie. I don't care. Everybody wants to talk about the ending, but my personal favorite part is she's going around convincing people of stuff. Doesn't matter what. And Renesmee touches one of them. And she says that's how, and they get a vision of everything that's happened, and she's like, that's how she talks. And then the next scene, Renesmee talks, and it's like, oh, I guess that's another way she talks.
Oh my god, that's so dumb.
Also by speaking.
Yeah, she has a few different ways of talking.
Okay. I understand any confusion that this may be sooner than expected.
Morwen continued.
Believe me, it is. It is traditional for the Fiora to have her apprentice succeed her only in the event that she is no longer able to fulfill her duties. However, there is a pressing need for the change, and while I may not tell you why, it is my dearest wish that you all will accept this choice as much as I have.
A buzz of confusion ran through the crowd.
I have accepted my own choice to this degree.
Yeah. What was Morwen talking about? A pressing need? Was there something that was about to happen? Were they in any danger? Was Morwen ill?
All is well.
Nereza thought.
Morwen is no longer fit for the role. Ellie and I shall do a far better job. And so,
exclaimed the Fiora,
without any further ado, I relinquish my position to my successor and take back my name from the tribe. Please pay your respects to your new Fiora as honored members of the Uriela tribe.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
Whoa. That technically is still a combination of the
Sure,
names.
but she fucked it up.
She did it wrong.
Is it?
I assume
I'm
that's
trying to think.
implying that it's going to Uriel alone. Oh, dude, Acorns is raiding with a party of 17. Holy shit!
I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, what?
That means that Acorns was streaming, and now they've taken all of their streamers and dumped them into our stream.
no. Welcome, Acorns castaways.
Hey.
Yeah, Acorn, this is somebody that I knew from a Cowboy Bebop fan board in the early 2000s. We recently recreated that board on Discord, and we just finished up a chapter of our Faerie Wars Neopets fan fiction, and we're about to head over to Venom's New Beginning, which is a Venom X Elsa from Frozen story. So that's going to be fun. And if I remember right, Carnage just showed up in the last chapter.
Yes.
That's right. It's a very exciting turning point here.
Finally got Carnage. Finally dug himself out from underneath all that snow.
And possibly either Carnage threw a sled at Elsa and Venom, or Carnage was riding a sled into Venom and Elsa.
Shout out.
And
A_C0 RNZ.
Yeah. Even though Eddie has been like, I have to tell you something. It's really important. It's going to be crazy. Blah 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 blah. Okay, bye, Acorns.
Okay. I'm still gonna post a link. But yeah, go on, Michael.
Well, I got sat there and I lost my train of thought. Right. So even though Eddie has been saying, like, I'm gonna tell you something and it's gonna blow your friggin' mind, blah 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 blah. And Carnage waited like way too long to either throw the sled or ride the sled into them and be like, "Oh, lover boy didn't tell you something."
I'm now following Acorns.
Oh, that's right. Carnage has a southern.
He's
Cletus Cassidy.
He's a good old boy.
Yeah.
Now, in that earlier chapter, wasn't Venom like swinging around from mountains, we presume, and saying, like, I don't know where Carnage is, but he's up to no good. And all that he did was get a sled?
Well,
he was gathering sleds. He had multiple sleds.
Well, okay.
All right.
He brought like a stack of sleds to throw at him.
Yeah, he's a Donkey Kong of sleds.
Yeah, he somehow knows about Venom and Elsa, Brock and Elsa, so he's been following them. And Carnage isn't exactly sneaky in the comics. He's not a ninja.
What Carnage looks like, I can't remember. Okay.
Red, very, very red. Just Venom, but red.
He's a red version of red. Red version of Venom, yeah.
And like more stringy, like a string cheese, cheese version.
Yeah, he's not as like muscle bound as like Venom was. Venom was very kind of naive, type character. But so Venom is more crazy.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Okay. I was just going back a chapter to make sure we were on the right one.
It's got to be chapter 5 because the end of chapter 4 is
cool.
Venom, Eddie turning into Venom. So,
okay, yeah.
All right. Is everybody ready?
I'm just gonna say, everybody, please do follow Acorns. I was just on his stream earlier. He was doing a really funny playthrough of a horror game called The Letter. It was a lot of fun. All right, now go.
Chapter 5. Eddie let the symbiote consume him as he turned into Venom. It started at his feet and then worked all the way up to his torso. That's not all the way up.
Yeah. Also, did you guys ever see when the first trailer for the Venom movie came out, and somebody turned there's that transformation where the Venom forms around his head, and somebody changed it so that he's got googly eyes. That's just what I'm picturing.
I didn't see that. What I'm picturing
really good.
is that he's gained a little bit of weight, and now Venom doesn't fit like he used to. He has to like work it up. All right, I've got it up to my torso.
Elsa, can you hold on here while I just shimmy into the... He took one last look at Elsa with his own face before the symbiote covered it. After that, he didn't want to see the fear in her eyes. He didn't want to know if she was afraid of him like she was of Carnage.
Was she afraid of Carnage?
We don't really know
we didn't
yet.
really getting her.
Carnage showed us up.
Elsa!
On a screen, but she managed to pull her sister out of the way in time before the two monsters collided in battle. At this point, many of the people fled for their lives. The people, just the people anyway.
Right, yeah, just the common rabble.
However, a few stayed and watched from a safe distance. Halloween Townie, yes, Carnage is more brutal and animalistic.
Yes.
Because
he's like a serial killer to begin with, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's I mean, I guess I can kind of, like it said, afraid of him like she was of Carnage, you know, like, I don't know. It's I don't think it's necessarily implying that she has to be more afraid of him. But it's,
right, but I'm just saying, I don't remember anything at the end of the last one of her being shocked at seeing.
We did not.
Oh, that's true.
Venom.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
She just looked at it, it's like, who's that? Like,
right. I mean, she's probably more afraid of sleds at the moment.
right.
Yeah.
Did I finish that sentence?
Watch from a safe distance. Yeah. Come on, we need to get out of here,
Kristoff said as he tried to grab Elsa and Anna and lead them to safety. However, Elsa pulled away as she couldn't stop watching the black monster known as Venom battle the crimson monster, Carnage. Good, she knows who they are. Did they introduce themselves? I don't think so. She couldn't.
I don't think so.
Carnage.
Yeah,
he said he showed up and he was like, Eddie, or should I say Venom? And that was a big reveal.
Right, okay. But did he say Did he introduce himself as Carnage though?
And then he said, "Oh, by the way, my name's Carnage. You probably don't know that because I'm from another universe."
Right, exactly. Yeah.
She couldn't believe the man she came to know as Eddie Brock wasn't even human. It all made sense as Eddie words rang in her head again. Eddie words.
Got some Eddie words around in here. Then again, I'm just as bad.
Meanwhile, Venom and Carnage were caught in a battle to the death. Venom managed to grab Carnage and slam him to the ground at full force, leaving a small crater, and began punching him repeatedly with blinding strength and speed.
Out. Battle to the death. That means one of them better freaking die at the end of this fight. And I don't think that's going to happen, right?
Also,
it's not a battle to the death.
They're symbiotes, and the most creative thing he can do is punching.
Yeah. After the 7th or 8th punch, we're not sure. I mean, who knows? Like, it's your story, dude. Come on.
Oh, right.
After the 7th or 8th punch, Carnage managed to kick Venom back. How did he manage to kick him back with a punch? And then leapt on top of him and began pummeling him.
Well, then why'd you kick him away?
Some more punches.
Right.
Venom eventually grabbed hold of Carnage's fist at mid-punch and then grabbed him by the...
And then they punched.
20% of the way through a punch, he was able to land a punch of his own.
Right.
And then grabbed him by the throat with his other hand and threw him a few yards back. He then leapt to his feet and bolted at him, but then Carnage jumped and avoided him and landed right behind him. He then turned his right hand into a whip and wrapped it around Venom's... See, there's some variety for you, all right?
Some creativity.
Around Venom's throat and slammed him into a nearby stone wall repeatedly.
Venom then managed... Jackson.
Venom, I was thinking the Stonewall Inn. I was like, whoa, going for some social commentary here. Venom then managed to break Carnage's hold and shot his web out to catch him. Whew. He then used some web in his other wrist and began to pull Carnage in with both web strands. Carnage used his claws to try and escape. but with one final yank, Venom had him right where he wanted him. It was then Venom swung the web and twined Carnage into the air and then sent him flying and then crashing into the ocean. Venom knew it wasn't over yet as a heavy silence filled the air. He could feel hundreds of stares on him as he watched the water waiting for Carnage to make his move. But even though he didn't look, he could feel one particular stare that stood out from the rest. Elsa.
Well, I bet she hates me now.
Eddie thought to himself. He didn't want Elsa to find out. Not like this. It was then the sound of something leaping out of the water snapped him to reality in time to catch Carnage flying at him. I love that turn of phrase. The sound of something leaping out of the water. Rather than trying to describe it, just the sound of something
it's
leaping
like a
out
splash, but backwards.
Chapel.
If you can imagine such a thing.
It's like stepping in a puddle, but rewind it.
Even that, I think, would be better than the sound of something leaping out of the water. Right. I had a book that I narrated that had the line, he heard the sound of an animal sound.
That's good.
Although he caught him, Carnage managed to swipe him across his chest with his claws. It hurt like crazy, but he was all right. Venom threw a punch, but Carnage broke free of his grip and went back on the attack. For the next few minutes, the two of them exchanged blows and countered one another's attacks. Eventually, some Arendelle soldiers arrived onto the scene and began to intervene. A younger soldier fired his crossbow and hit Venom in the back. Provoking more anger than pain, Venom shot his web to catch the soldier and pulled him close to his face.
And said, oh, come on, please, play. I had...
What?
Okay. I downloaded like a pack of every sound effect used in Star Fox 64, and I went through them yesterday and named all of them. I just want you to play it. Is it playing for anybody else?
No.
No, I don't
Damn
hear
it.
it.
Oh, because it's in the music. Oh, it thinks it's music. Shit. Damn it. All right, fine. I'll just do my impression of Slippy. You're really starting to piss me off.
Venom roared at him, to which the soldier said fearfully,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything.
Best reaction ever.
I gotta give these soldiers credit. Like, these alien things are like poopy oil monsters.
I really want that in a comic someday. Like Carnage, or Venom, picks up a police officer and he's like, "You're really starting to piss me off." And the police officer's like, "Oh, oops, sorry, I didn't realize." Venom then threw him out of the way in disgust and yanked the arrow out. He then continued his battle with Carnage. As the battle fight waged on, it continued down the streets of Arendelle. Both of them traded punches and delivered kicks that could shatter bones to normal human beings. Eventually, Carnage... What's that?
This is really starting to tick me off.
Okay.
What?
Oh, sorry. All right, now it should go to Discord as well. I think it already streamed, but...
Aha! Thought you could hide
God
from me,
damn
eh?
it.
I heard it. This is really starting to tick me off.
Yeah, I know, and then it switched to the other one when I tried to play it for them. Here.
This is really starting to tick me off.
There we go.
I heard it.
That's Venom.
We heard it on this.
All right,
got it.
Continue, sorry.
Eventually, Carnage managed to leap into the air and crawl up the side of a nearby house with Venom right behind him. He then began hopping from rooftop to rooftop at unbelievable speed, but Venom was still on his tail. When he reached the final house on the block, he did a backflip and landed in the street. He then began scooping up nearby objects, such as sleighs, carriages, and even a nearby pedestrian, and began hurling them towards Venom.
There, okay, but the pedestrian is just a background character, so I'm just imagining like it's rigid because it hasn't been animated. It was just standing there.
It's just T-posing.
Right, exactly.
It's such a Looney Tunes sort of image, right? Like just sleighs and carriages being thrown, and then suddenly in the middle there's like a dude holding on to his hat, like ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Venom continued leaping from roof to roof, dodging all of the projectiles. As the person that Carnage had thrown came barreling at him, he dodged him and shot out his web so the person safely landed on it. I don't think that's exactly how the web works, but okay. He just made him a hammock on top of the...
Yeah, Spider-Man does that all the time.
Yeah.
Sure, but that's
so Venom can do that too?
That's not how he worded it, though.
Sure.
Yeah, he's got the same kind of webs as Spider-Man does.
Okay. I guess.
Meanwhile, Venom had managed to pick up an even more intense speed than before as he leapt off the final rooftop and on top of Carnage.
He picked it up. And he find it as like a
yes,
like a special thing in a video game.
Yeah,
that's right. There was a little glowing like arrow forward, and he was like, "All right, more speed." Right before he made impact, he quickly brought his elbow forward and let it collide against Carnage's face. The fight became an all-out street brawl as the fight started to drift back to the marketplace. As they fought their way towards the fountain at the center of the market, Carnage formed a sledgehammer from his fist and knocked Venom straight into the fountain. Venom landed on his back and saw Carnage flying towards him with his razor-sharp claws. However, he anticipated his advance and managed to roll out of the way in time as his enemy clumsily collided with the fountain. He's like, no commas, just no commas.
Yeah.
He then grabbed Carnage and with all of his might slung him into an empty warehouse nearby, causing it to collapse from the force of the impact.
There's a warehouse in Arendelle?
Sure. They got to store their sleds somewhere.
Yeah. True.
The next few seconds sped by as Venom waited for Carnage to emerge to continue the fight. However, what happened next caught even him off guard. A large wooden beam came flying out of the wreckage with terrifying speed and impaled Venom against a building. Whew. The sight of Eddie being impaled by the 20-foot beam caused Elsa to scream in panic, especially when she heard Venom roar from the painted. Also...
roar from the painted, okay. But it's not the sight of Eddie being impaled. Unless Venom basically exposed that part of Eddie so it wouldn't get hurt.
No, but I mean, come on. She saw him change right in front of him. Carnage said they were the same.
She knows that's Eddie, but still.
Hell, I forgot what I was going to say. So screw it. I know. Is it weird that Elsa hasn't used her powers yet? Again, I haven't seen Frozen.
I was noticing the same thing. Like, she should be immediately at least trying to freeze these two.
She's essentially frozen.
They're destroying her town.
Yeah. I'm just going to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Right. At the very least, you're the queen. You should be protecting your people.
Right. Let them tucker each other out first.
Right. Exactly. They're using your own people as projectile weapons. Do something.
Now I picture the little guy holding onto his hat, like, hey, Mom. Out of desperation, she ran towards him, shouting, Eddie! Venom looked up to see her coming, and Eddie's face quickly appeared as he yelled, Elsa, don't! But it was too late. Before she could make it to Eddie, Carnage grabbed her and fled to a high point overlooking the bay. Seeing him have Elsa enraged Venom, and so with renewed strength he pulled out the beam as the symbiote covered his face again with its own. I guess it was Eddie. That's weird. All right.
He briefly turned back into himself. So hold on. Maybe this is the Topher Grace Venom then.
I think Venom was like, oh shit, there's a piece of wood coming at me. Better get the hell out of here.
I'm gonna let Eddie take this one. You got this one, Eddie.
Yeah, I Olivia noticed that as well as me. I wasn't going to say anything though. Have there is an active verb. Seeing Carnage, he's seeing Carnage have her, and it's like that doesn't read quite right.
Right.
Seeing him have Elsa, and okay. He then leapt upwards to where Carnage and Elsa were in an attempt to rescue her. Oh. When he was 10 feet away, Carnage held Elsa by the neck with his left hand over the edge of the cliff and shouted,
"I'll drop her."
To which Venom shouted,
"Let her go. Your fight is with me." "Wrong. My fight is with humanity, as yours is supposed to be. Or it was before this pretty little blonde deluded your mind." It used to supposed to be. Eddie,
Right.
Help me, please.
Elsa managed to gasp to him.
Okay, again, that's not Elsa. For crying out loud.
It's like this guy like watched the first 5 minutes of Frozen, or I don't know, maybe she uses her ice powers in that 5 minutes, but he was like, all right, she's some princess chick.
Actually, no joke, she does.
Yeah,
as a little girl.
Yeah,
She's like a powerful little girl.
Pretty well
in the
established.
first 5 minutes of Frozen. Like, don't mess with that kid.
crying out loud, she would be like, I mean, actually, you know what's funny is the symbiotes. One of their weaknesses is loud noises, so she should be singing at him.
Yeah,
like
that
might
might.
yeah. would make him rattle.
Let it go, and that would probably knock him out.
Hearing her plead made Carnage laugh hysterically.
Ha 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 ha.
He then smiled. So the drinking game here is then. He then smiled at Venom and said,
"This woman has made you soft. Did you really think she'd ever love someone like you?"
That last remark cut Venom deep. He hated to admit it, but he truly was afraid his enemy was right. It was then Carnage quickly added,
"Still want me to let her go?
Oh.
Let her go. Get it?"
Oh,
He
I
then
guess the quote's
released
over.
his grip, causing Elsa to plummet down towards the jagged rocks below.
I was like, oh, all right. Venom died. Go ahead, sorry.
If Venom reaches out with, shoots the web and then she dies from hitting the ground, like Gwen Stacy, I'll at least give him some credit.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like if that happens, then I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna take away all points.
All right.
It's too derivative. And Halloween Townie, they have to be like a high pitch, high frequency. Like Spider-Man usually gets Venom with bells, like the Liberty Bell or whatever. But but I think Elsa singing probably
She
reaches
could probably
that,
hit that
right?
note. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure she can.
Venom dived down.
Wickedly talented.
Venom dived down after Elsa to her rescue. As he did, he could hear Carnage howling in laughter and shouting down to him.
I like that he always clarifies that it's to her rescue. Like he jumped up to the top of the building to rescue her. Now he's diving down to her rescue.
Yeah.
Right. Not just because,
Ha 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 ha! Love is weakness, man. Does he say man a lot? Love is weakness, man.
He is Southern, so.
But he wasn't listening for saving Elsa and but he wasn't listening for saving Elsa, and protecting her was his only concern now. As he closed in on her, she shot his web to catch her.
She shot his web?
Apparently, she used her mind control powers. Meanwhile, Elsa... I also love his use of meanwhile.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over there.
I'm just like
feet away.
It's like those it's like the slow fade, like the slow fade to something happening in the same action scene.
Meanwhile, Elsa was screaming in terror as she neared the bottom filled with the sharp, jagged rocks. As her death literally grew closer by the second, she had, I mean, that's true of every second.
Right.
As her death literally grew closer by the second, she had abandoned all hope until she felt something wrap around her waist and pull her upwards with supernatural speed. What could it be? Within 2 seconds, she was in the embrace of Eddie Brock or Venom. Once he grabbed her, Venom shot another strand of web up and swung the both of them to safety. As he looked down into her eyes, he instantly made his own face appear.
Are you all right?
He asked with worry in his voice. All she could do was nod to Eddie as she hung on to him for dear life. Eddie could tell that she was still in a state of shock, but then she quickly said,
Thank you.
Not too long after that, Eddie landed with Elsa still safely in his embrace. He then let her go as the crowd gathered around him. And this,
again.
I don't think he's even getting that he's making a pun.
No, that.
And this time with royal guards whose weapons were raised at him. Anna quickly wrapped her arms around Elsa and shouted,
Thank goodness you're all right.
She was at the verge of crying as she continued hugging her sister tight. Meanwhile, the captain of the guard shouted to Venom,
Put your hands where we can see them, monster.
to which Elsa quickly ran in front of him and waved her arms.
Leave him alone. He is not our enemy. This man saved my life.
Oh, okay, sorry. The soldiers instantly lowered their weapons and backed away. It was then Kristoff asked,
Like, wasn't that kind of obvious that he, like, landed and set her down safely?
Right. And he caught her and everything. Like, that was out in the open. Also, where's Carnage? Like,
He's just standing around now.
he's just waiting to see how this. I'm waiting to see how this pans out. You know,
Gathering up more
right.
sleds, probably.
yeah.
Christoph asked, What exactly are you?
I was just reading up above to see, Carnage just disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah.
To which the guard...
Bandolier of people, like,
I want to assume that off-screen an avalanche hit.
Yeah.
To which the guard captain barked,
Something from hell itself. Okay. In an inhuman voice. Okay, so turn on the reverb. You don't know what hell is.
Eddie roared at him in an inhuman voice, which caused many of the townspeople to shrink in fear.
You're not helping, Eddie.
Eddie's not.
This is when you turn back into Eddie Brock.
He's not good at selling himself.
Oh, no, he's not.
He then collected himself when he saw how everyone was afraid of him. Much to his dismay, even his friends were scared of him.
I'm picturing Venom is like picking up parts of him that fell off during the fight. Like,
wait, picking up his own parts? What? Oh, he collected himself.
He's
Got it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
For parts, kind of like the
Like
T1000.
swim back into him? Yeah,
like the T1000. Yeah.
Sure. Although Elsa was still defending Eddie, he still felt like he had blown it. There was no way she would love a monster like him, or so he thought. Maybe he was better off alone. No villain had ever, or so he thought, is utterly unnecessary there.
Yeah.
Maybe he was better off alone. No villain had ever won the public's love. He then knew what he had to do.
You were an anti-hero at one point.
Yeah, it's slight liberties. Eddie Brock turned to his full human form so Elsa could see him one final time. He then put his head on Elsa. He then put his head on Elsa's shoulder to get her attention and said, "Oh, he then put his hand. Gotcha. Yeah.
Elsa, it's okay. They're right to be afraid of me. You should be too. I told you that I was no hero. I'm a villain, and I always will be. I'm sorry it had to turn out this way."
As he spoke, he began backing a few feet away from her, then said,
"You deserve better than me anyway."
He then resumed his full Venom form and shot web out and swung away. As he left, he thought he could hear Elsa screaming,
"No, please don't leave me. Come back,
but then again,
Shane."
But then again, he could just be hearing things.
Oh well, yeah.
Right. I mean, he's
From all the bells that got rang in his head, he might just have tinnitus.
right.
All right.
Well, that was. Oh my God! So do you think this
Not
guy
even
is like this?
halfway.
Yeah. Do you
We're
think
not.
this?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're 1/3 of the way, approximately.
Oh,
So
kidding.
Elsa, remember she has powers? Because I'm going
Apparently
crazy.
not.
Like,
I know.
when she was
I know.
falling down, did she make like a ice ski jump or something? You know, like Frozone makes those things and
Yeah.
flies around on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, something like that. Just, God damn it. She's not a
No.
damsel at all.
Oh,
Exactly.
He's totally not. She's
Oh,
the
so
opposite.
But remember that for this author, who was, I'll remind you, Man of the Year, 1989. He's writing this because Frozen is something that his wife enjoys, and he's just, this
Right.
is his interpretation.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
he's getting no sex out of this. None.
No. This is what I think. I think that. By the way, we're having like feminist critique from Ms. Weird Friends and Olivia over here.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is-
please. Yeah.
Ms. Weird Friends points out, I hate it when a guy shoots his web and swings away. And Olivia points out, Elsa could be replaced with literally any generic female character, which is totally true. But so my theory is that this is him like trying to show his like soft side to his wife. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, I didn't think anyone could love a monster like me, but then you came along and were utterly useless at everything. Apparently,
And,
Yeah.
yeah,
and accepted me.
and he's comparing himself to Venom. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
my guess.
You are right though. Like, if the irony is like, if this were Anna, at
Anna?
least was
Anna, careful,
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. So this is Anna as opposed to Alpha. Okay. That was a bad joke.
I liked it.
If this were Anna, as the one that was being captured by Carnage,
Right.
it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we
Like-
still would have expected Elsa to do something, but
Right, exactly. But honestly, she should have been doing something while they were beating each other up through the town.
yeah, could
So-
have frozen them both or something.
I could give her
Otherwise,
like
just,
maybe
chasing them, like even
Yeah.
if she's not successful, at least like chasing them, trying to freeze them,
Yeah.
and then like in the middle of this, then Carnage grabs Anna because Anna's not doing anything and holds her up. Like that would make more sense.
I could give her like one or two pummelings to like while she's like in shock at these monsters fighting each other. But,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she
But
literally
after
made
7
a
or
monster.
8 punches, come on.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
she literally made a monster as her guard. in
Oh,
the
did she?
movie.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay, then maybe I wouldn't give her
woman
that
or
long
something.
then.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, chapter 6.
And again, I'm telling you guys, you guys need to watch the Sinister Theater riff of Frozen. If
I
you
have
haven't
seen
the
it.
movie,
Yeah, I have seen
it's
it.
really good.
Yeah.
Do we want to keep going with this, or do we want to start on the Star Fox one?
Now we'll save
yeah.
that one for when Tracy's with us.
Okay. Good, because I don't know. I mean, he flies a ship, right? That's about as much as I know.
Yeah.
And he's a fox.
Played the first game where it was literally triangles and hexagons
Yeah.
coming
Which
at
was
you.
really impressive back in the day.
Like
Oh,
Descent.
Yeah, it
Um,
looks like hot garbage now.
Chapter 6. After the battle, Carnage had swung back to his hideout to regroup and strategize. Oh, well, there we go. See? Explained. I feel like somebody
I
read
don't know
chapter 5
why.
and was like,
he
I-
was
I-
doing
I
pretty
bet
What
well.
was regrouping with? He basically
Yeah.
won, right?
yeah.
Regrouping with
Yeah.
himself.
The battle to the death.
I think somebody
died.
I think somebody,
No one died.
probably his wife, read chapter 5 and was like, but why did Carnage just disappear? And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll handle that next
Well,
chapter. No need to go back and edit. His plans of kidnapping Queen Elsa were ruined due to Venom being there to defend her. Okay, so that was all right.
If you were planning to kidnap her, maybe it went awry when you dropped her.
Yeah.
Released her
Right.
from your grasp.
Also,
I don't know, maybe.
If that was your real plan,
Yeah, maybe
Well,
choose a
he's-
different time.
yeah. He's new to this area. His only concern should be for Venom. So why would he care about Elsa?
Right.
Like,
Well, maybe we'll find out
Let's
here.
read on.
Yeah.
Even though the bond Venom had formed with the Queen had become an inconvenience to his plans, perhaps it could be used to his advantage somehow. Entering the abandoned castle, he prepared himself for what he soon had to do. Indeed, his new master would be displeased once he learns of his failure. As he entered the former throne room of the castle, which had been converted into a makeshift laboratory, he heard someone tisking.
Tisk. I don't know who this is.
Serpentine.
Hair tisks.
Serpentine.
Serpentine.
Wait,
I
is that a
assume-
character?
I assume he's gonna like draw out his S's, and that's gonna be his.
Of course, yes.
Oh, how do I not? Yeah, how do I not want?
How I do not.
How I do not want to be in your shoes, friend.
Carnage looked over to see the snake-like man, Serpentine, smiling as he was bent over a workbench fixing something. Shaking his head, Carnage shot back.
Only a mirror. I don't know. Only a minor roadblock. I'll have the Ice Queen soon enough.
Halloween Townie, I pronounced it the British way because I listen to a lot of British audiobooks. So sometimes I, especially when I'm narrating, I will accidentally go British. He then stormed out of the room, down a corridor, and into a large chamber. The room was almost as large as the throne room, but was much darker. As Carnage walked further into the room, he called,
Master, I'm back.
Oh, so Serpentine isn't the master.
No, he's just another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a voice boomed back.
I know. I also know you failed to retrieve the queen.
To which Carnage responded,
There were complications.
Suddenly, blue flames. In case anybody's not seeing it,
Reading
completely
along.
blue is BLEW.
Yeah.
Suddenly, blue flames shot up, revealing a large dark mirror with a frame that looked to be made of human bones. Suddenly, a large skull face appeared and glared at Carnage and said,
Yes, I have seen these complications you speak of. Your brother Venom was there and stopped you.
The monstrous skeleton creature added,
He has grown strong feelings for Queen Elsa, but since she had seen his true form, he left Arendelle and is now hiding in the North Mountains.
Carnage then replied,
How convenient. Now is the perfect time to grab her, Master. I should have just stuck around and done that right after he left, I guess. I'll go get her right now.
But much to his surprise, the master quickly answered,
No, I have bigger plans for the both of them, especially Venom. Let them reunite, and then we shall make our next move. In the meantime, I have a new chore for you.
Carnage quickly said,
Name it. Name it. Once Serpentine's work is complete, I'll be able to enter this world and conquer it. However, in order for this to be done, he requires something very important, and I want you to retrieve it for him.
It was then his face disappeared in the mirror and was replaced by a dark-covered book titled Mundus Calcator. The creature's voice then said,
You are
a
to
dark-covered book.
Yeah. You are to retrieve this book and bring it back here.
It was then the skull reappeared and added,
I was wondering when it would be that the skull would reappear and add. Once you retrieve the Mundus Calcator, there will be no stopping us.
It was then an evil smile formed on Carnage's face as he said,
"Oh, don't worry, man. I'll retrieve it."
He then formed blades from his arms.
"I'm gonna have some fun doing it too."
Meanwhile, in Arendelle.
So, was that Skeletor? Like,
I don't
pretty
know.
sure you were kidding before.
I know.
It sounds like it is.
I should have done the Skeletor voice for him. I'll do that next time if we come back to it.
Just, what?
Yeah, I'm like,
there's nothing like that in the movie.
I'm like, if he
In either
actually
of them.
created his own like villain, like I'm pretty fucking impressed. Like even if it is a Skeletor ripoff, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
You'd think he
I
would have
wanna
mentioned if the skull was red. So probably
No,
not.
Skeletor
Yeah.
is not red.
Well, no, I'm saying if it was the red skull,
They
they probably would have mentioned it. I'm
Right.
saying
Oh,
this
if it
in
was
favor
Red
of
Skull,
the
I see
theory
what
that
you
it is in fact
That
Skeletor.
it's Skeletor. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That. I hope so.
yeah. Is Serpentine like a?
I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar at all.
I honestly am pretty impressed if
I
this
couldn't
guy
find
actually like
anything.
made up his own OC bad guys. Like
Oh, you
Serpentine
searched
sounds
for it?
like
You couldn't find it?
Serpentine
Yeah,
sounds like
there's
something
just a bunch of
from
different
G.I.
things.
Joe.
It wasn't
right,
Yeah, it
Serpentor
does.
from GI Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had
You're
that
right.
one.
Yeah.
Later that
This
evening.
one,
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it could be a crossover. Who knows? Later that evening, after the incident with Carnage, Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven were in the dining room where they first ate with Eddie. A heavy silence had filled the air as the group sat around the table deep in thought and still recovering from what they had seen that day. Elsa didn't bother joining them, for she had went straight to her bedroom and sat on her bed deep in thought.
Everybody's deep in thought, okay? Regardless of location.
She knew Eddie had his secrets and could sense there was something unnatural about him. Really? Yet nothing could have prepared her for what had happened. Despite everything that Eddie or this Venom had kept from her, she knew exactly why he had done it. She knew what it was like to be different from everyone else and hated for it. She also now knew what it felt like to be shut out by somebody she really cared about. She couldn't help but feel sorry for everything she had put Anna through all those years. Everything she had put Anna through all those years due to her ice powers. She deeply cared about Eddie, and when he left after saving her, she felt as though her heart was ripped from her chest. As she continued to sit on the edge of her bed, a tear rolled down the side of her face and fell. The side of her face, not her cheek, just... Okay. It then landed on what she was holding in her hands. The gentle splash of her tear brought her back as she looked at the necklace she was holding. The silver necklace, completed with the large sapphire jewel, was truly breathtaking, and what surprised and flattered her most was that it came from Eddie. Sadly, he never had the chance to officially give it to her, though. Wait, didn't he? I thought he did.
Well, let's...
Oh, okay, here it's gonna... Okay.
Yeah.
Earlier that day, when Eddie saved Elsa from sleigh that Carnage had thrown... Okay, he did throw it. He wasn't writing it. I don't know which is better, though.
Yeah.
The necklace fell out of his pocket and onto the ground. See, this is why she didn't interfere with the fight, because she was busy looking at that the entire time.
Oh, necklace.
Oh, it's got a note too. Dum-de-dum. There was also a note that Eddie had written to go with it. She smiled and whispered,
"I wish I could have looked at all of this with you."
She then opened the letter and silently read from it again.
"Elsa, over the short time I've gotten to know you, I've truly seen how wonderful a person you are. I wish I could put it in better words, but I'm not really the articulate type, as you've probably guessed. Ha ha. So I got you this gift here." At least he didn't write LOL.
All right.
The necklace.
LMFAO.
The necklace is nowhere near as beautiful as you, but it's a start, Eddie.
You just to clarify, because I think this is great, you put in near, but it's not there.
Oh, the necklace is nowhere as beautiful as you. Yeah.
I don't know. That amuses me.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's not good with words. It almost feels like the author did that intentionally, but he didn't. As she finished reading the letter,
he says that necklace is just the start, which means that he plans on taking a lot of really expensive jewelry.
That shop owner said I could have anything.
Shop owner that made the worst deal of her career.
Well, and he also says it's nowhere as beautiful as you, but it's a start, like as if he's going to create a fake Elsa out of diamonds or something.
Yeah,
as she finished reading the letter, the waterworks were really flowing. She quickly wiped away her tears and walked to her mirror. Putting the necklace on, she couldn't believe how good it looked on her. It truly suited her well. As she looked at herself, she then said,
Eddie, there's no way someone so wonderful like you can be so evil.
Of course she was right. He may have done some terrible things in the past, but he's still a better man than that Carnage.
Than that
Eddie fought.
Yeah, have you seen that Carnage?
Also, like, as much as
some whataboutism.
You're right. It's like, where's our bar here, you know?
Well, evil people don't buy necklaces for other people or take necklaces for other people. They don't give people necklaces. That never happens.
Eddie fought to protect her. He was even impaled by a large wooden beam for her. Even though he miraculously healed thanks to his superpowers,
He didn't.
It was the fact he did it all for her that touched her.
He took a beam for me.
Nobody else has taken a wooden beam.
I don't think that was premeditated.
Well, the one, but...
Especially, that was high school. Especially when he dived off the cliff to save her life. She never forgot how he held her close to him.
Wait, it said dived?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's about on level with my 3-year-old.
Not just for the sake... Right, instead of dove, yeah. Not just for the sake of holding her tight for her protection, but almost like a lover's embrace. It was then it really hit home. He loved her.
Wait a minute.
Wait, the lover's embrace was when he was black, slimy,
yanked her
Venom symbiote.
Yeah, that's it.
Look, she doesn't care, man. She sees past that, all right?
Yeah.
As Olivia points out, in the last 5 hours, she never forgot it.
Yeah.
She then felt weak in the knees from flattery. How do you feel weak in the knees when you're sitting down? Let's all sit and think
standing
about
on these things? Oh, man.
Her heart began beating rapidly from the thought of it. And then with renewed vigor, she ran out of her room and went to find the others. As she raced... I really thought this was going a different route, but okay. As she raced down the halls and down a flight of stairs, she couldn't help but feel so animate. Truth be told, between being rescued by Eddie and knowing he did it for her made Elsa feel so alive. Usually she was rescued because of her looks, not really because for her, you know? She never felt this way for anyone before, and she wasn't going to lose him that easily. Regardless of what he said or done, she knew there was good in him, for she'd seen it for herself. She then burst into the dining room that the others were in. As the doors flew open, everyone jumped and looked over to see Elsa burst in and exclaim,
I'm going to find Eddie and I need all of your help.
At first, everyone just looked to Elsa, then to one another, before Kristoff finally spoke.
Look, Elsa, don't get me wrong. I liked Eddie all right. Heck, we all did. But you saw what he was, what he's capable of doing. He's a villain, just like that other one called Carnage. We all know that he's called Carnage.
You mean that Carnage?
He admitted it himself.
Anna quickly interjected.
But he saved us, didn't he?
Oh, to which Kristoff replied and nodded.
Yeah, he did.
It was then Olaf piped in.
Maybe he didn't become evil because he's really bad, Maybe he became evil because he's misunderstood.
But he's still evil, just to make that clear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why
Olaf-
Hitler became evil. He was very misunderstood. And
Olaf's sudden spout of wisdom, it was not. It doesn't, that's not, I don't, like, it's as if the writer thinks it's like, oh God, what is it? Like, people are just intrinsically evil or whatever, you know? Like, that's kind of, Olaf's sudden spout of wisdom stunned everyone in the room. I can't phrase it
like
well,
it's like he's going by the alignment chart. Like he chose chaotic evil because he's misunderstood.
Yeah,
but there's nothing he can do now. He chose it.
Right, and it's like there's. I mean, I don't know. Well, plus, like, okay. Anyway, there's a logical like inconsistency there, and I'm just gonna keep going because it's like if I try to It wasn't very often he was serious, but when he was, Olaf could hit the nail straight on the head. Elsa then took that opportunity to expand on Olaf's point.
I know for a fact that he still has good left in him. I've seen it for myself,
she said while holding the necklace she was wearing. Sorry.
He just needs to see it for himself.
She then finished her speech with this.
And plus, when this carnage returns, it's this carnage.
Right.
Plus, when this carnage returns, he's carnage. He's not the carnage, Mom. Only he is strong enough to stop him. The enemy of our enemy is our friend.
Okay, first of all, that's a terrible message. Second, you have superpowers. If you use them, maybe they would be effective.
Maybe.
Like, as far as we know, Carnage was at least knocked out for a couple of days from, getting covered in snow. So, right. So, maybe getting frozen would work.
Anna said. Then let's bring our friend home.
Elsa smiled.
Boom! So it's official. Eddie and Elsa got some feelings for one another. Will Elsa be able to find Eddie? Will they be able to work out the whole Venom thing? And what the heck is the Mundus Calcator? Well, I guess you're going to have to read on to find out. What is the Mundus Calcator?
What's all with this Carnage stuff?
Have you heard about this Carnage?
What do you think? We got like 15 minutes left. What do you think? Should we try for another chapter?
I mean, I guess that chapter technically took like 15 minutes. We're going to have to take fewer breaks if we do, though.
All right. We're just going to rush through this son of a bitch. I don't know. I can't tell if it's longer or shorter.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Chapter 7. A few minutes later, the group loaded Kristoff's sleigh and set off with Sven leading the way. There was a snowstorm brewing, but that was not going to stop them, especially not Elsa. She was on a mission to bring Eddie home, and nothing was going to stand in her way. As the sleigh made its way out of the city, Elsa asked Kristoff,
"You know this land better than the back of your hand, so where do you think Eddie may have gone?"
Kristoff considered it for a moment and then replied,
"Well, chances are he'd head back the way he came, the North Mountains. I'm willing to bet he's hiding somewhere up there."
Anna then chipped in.
He may also be on Carnage's trail, so we have to be darn careful that we don't run into him instead.
To which everyone nodded. Elsa sat and prayed silently that they found Eddie and not Carnage. She had her ice powers, but even then, she may not be any match for a monster like him. Although,
does she?
Not to even try.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only there had been a chance to test this theory at some point.
Right.
As they ascended a small hill, she silently thought, which again implies that she has telepathic powers.
She silently thought. So She silently thought, hang in there, Eddie, I'm coming. But I'm not going to say it because she's thinking it silently.
Got it. Okay. Meanwhile, Eddie was back at Wandering Oaks trading post. Ever since he left Arendelle, he fell into a state of deep depression. Villains like Venom were supposed...
Again, 5 hours ago.
Yes. Villains like Venom were supposed to be hated by everyone. And Eddie knew that. And for the longest time, he was just fine with that. Even before he became Venom, no one really liked him. That was nothing new to him. He could even recall getting beat up in school by all the other kids. But when he became Venom, the tables turned in his favor. He beat the shit out of those kids.
So, okay, well, yeah, Venom would actually, but
Yeah.
okay, so we're not. Maybe we are talking the Topher Grace version of Eddie Brock, because not the one from the comics.
Maybe. He was able to harness all those years of hate and abuse and used it to his benefit. His pain became his strength. He loved being hated and feared. Causing mayhem was what he lived for. That was until he met Elsa. Well, why was he fighting Carnage in the beginning then?
Yeah, that's like Carnage's goal.
For some reason, she was able to bring out the best in him. She was able to touch a part of Eddie that he believed had died a long time ago. Oh, yeah. The strangest part about the strangest part about it was the fact he loved it. He loved her for it. It took meeting Elsa for Eddie to realize how lonely he truly was, yet she was able to... It took meeting Elsa for Eddie to realize how lonely he truly was, yet she was able to help him with that. Or she was able to help with that. We're just going to leave that sentence in the dirt.
Yeah.
But now she's gone. Eddie felt so hollow now. Every time he closed his eyes, he could still see Elsa smiling at him. But then the smiles would vanish, and Eddie imagined her looking at him with fear. He wouldn't blame her if she hated him now. Not at all. But, best not to ask her or anything. Nothing mattered anymore, for he had nothing to live for now.
Woohoo! Are you all right, friend?
There's no you in there, just to...
Oh, yeah. Are all right, friend?
So weird, the things that you automatically put in with this person just was like, meh. The giant Scandinavian clerk broke through his thoughts as Eddie remembered where he was and snapped back into reality.
Yeah, man, sorry about that. I was just remembering something.
Eddie lied as he pretended to go back to looking down the aisle.
Not a lie, you were remembering something. Oh, the lie is that he was sorry about that. He wasn't sorry.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's what a dick, Eddie. Although Oaken saw through Eddie's lie, he figured it was best to leave it alone.
What?
Meanwhile, Eddie saw something.
There's no way he was remembering something.
I love how Eddie keeps being shocked that things in shops might be interesting. Meanwhile, Eddie saw something he actually was interested in. An acoustic guitar. Or at least that's what it looked like.
He actually was interested it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry.
God damn it, Tristan, I caught it.
Okay.
Looking up to the clerk, Eddie asked him,
"Hey, how much do you want for this guitar here?" "For that old thing? No charge."
Jesus, everybody just gives everything away in this.
I know, he's not a good shopkeeper.
Oaken plainly replied.
He plainly replied. Anyone can tell. Really?
Eddie asked in disbelief.
"I've been trying to get rid of that thing for 3 years now. It has no strings and needs a little repair. If you can fix it, then you can have it." "All right, I'll take it,"
Eddie said as he picked up the instrument. Not too long after that, he left with his new possession and turned to his Venom form. Then he was gone. He shot out his web strands and swung through the air north into the mountains from whence he had come. He then landed...
He's going to string the guitar with his webs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna come down on this author too hard, but it
The
still
from
pisses
whence
me off.
thing.
Yeah. He then landed on top of a plateau and looked down at the scenery. He could see everything. Tall mountains standing proud, the forest from where he'd come. But look right there, that's just fine. From where he'd come. But most of all, the city of Arendelle. Part of him wanted to go back down and try to work things out with Elsa, but he really believed she'd be better off without him. The temperature around him was dropping, so was his hope. He then whispered,
You gave me a reason to love, but now I lost you. Goodbye, Elsa.
Then he continued his up through the mountains and was gone. He continued his up through the mountains. It was almost midnight when the group decided to call it a night. All right, yeah, this is a night. All right, let's call it. Kristoff and Anna were building a fire while Sven settled in for the night and had drifted off to sleep. Meanwhile, Olaf was doing his best to lift Elsa's spirits. Despite his best attempts, nothing Olaf did could make Elsa feel better as she sat on a nearby log. He eventually gave up on his normally entertaining shenanigans and propped himself next to her.
Of which the author could think of none.
Right, yeah.
He was being extra amusing that night for sure.
Yeah, sure. Amusing, I guess.
You know, that thing he does that's entertaining, he was doing that.
Right.
A couple of seconds went by before Olaf finally spoke up. So this whole time, he's been doing charade shenanigans.
Yeah, he's been doing mime stuff, yeah. And now, to be fair, I've seen Frozen, and I can't think of anything entertaining that Olaf did either, so.
Like his nose falls off?
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it.
You know, this whole situation kind of reminds me of the time when we went looking for you up here.
That remark managed to grab Elsa's attention as she turned to look at him.
Why is that? Because we're up here looking for someone? I don't see the connection.
It's also the only interesting story. That's why it was the movie.
Yeah.
She asked him.
Well, like you, when everyone saw Eddie for who he truly was, he hauled butt.
He then shrugged and smiled.
He also is doing the same exact thing you did once you left the city, going up to the North Mountain and all. I mean, who knows he might even go up to the ice castle that you made.
This is if you're just going to steal a plot, probably best not to point it out.
Yeah.
Right.
And
also,
over and over every
Venom,
chapter.
I'm just picturing Venom singing
Yeah.
and making a symbiote castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all black and drippy. You know.
I kind of picture it turning into like Ega, except in the ice rather than a desert.
Yeah.
Olaf lightheartedly joked. However, his joke gave the Snow Queen a sudden epiphany.
That's it.
She exclaimed, causing everyone to jump and look at her. Even Sven was startled awake. Seeing she had everyone's attention, Elsa elaborated,
I know where Eddie is. Where?
Anna asked excitedly.
I'll explain everything on the way there, but we need to leave right now.
Okay. So Olaf is the snowman, right? And
Yeah.
Kristoff is Anna's husband or whatever at this point.
Boyfriend.
So who the hell is Sven?
Sven is the big Swedish guy who runs the shop.
I'm pretty sure it's the reindeer.
Or no. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sven is the reindeer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Sven doesn't talk.
And
Got
it,
it,
of course, acts like a dog.
Oh, what's his
because
face?
It's a Disney movie.
Right.
Well, Jonathan Groff's character will make the voice for Sven in Frozen. Like, it's like, well, I don't know reindeer, but it's just him doing his own voice.
Right.
So that's how
it's
Sven
kind of
talks
him.
in air
Right.
quotes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elsa
So is
cheerfully
he
said,
using that? Okay.
Elsa, I just did not know. I was like, where the hell did this Sven character come from? And it's
Yeah, right.
it's because Sven gets no dialogue, so that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
okay.
It's also such a Swedish name. I keep confusing it with
Yeah.
the guy who runs the shop. Yeah.
Right.
Elsa cheerfully said with renewed strength. Kristoff quickly put out the fire and then proceeded to help the girls load up the sleigh. A few minutes later, Sven was pulling the sleigh up the mountains at a high speed. I guess that probably would have explained it.
In what direction? You didn't tell him where to go.
Up the mountains. At a high speed with Olaf standing in the back with his arms up in the air yelling,
It feels like I'm flying. Hey guys, why aren't y'all looking? Hey, oof.
As he was speaking, his body hit a tree branch, knocking him in half. Oh, God. His head managed to stay on the sleigh, but his lower half landed in the snow.
Yeah.
Hey,
that
lower
happens in the
body,
movie.
over here.
Olaf yelled, getting the attention of his body, causing it to chase after the sleigh. A couple of hours later, the sleigh... Who knows how that resolved? A couple of hours...
I mean, it probably isn't as fast as the reindeer running, so...
Yeah, we might just have a creepy fucking snowman head. It thinks it's really funny now. A couple of hours later, the sleigh made its... I'm surprised that Elsa's okay being in a sleigh after she had one chucked at her a few hours ago.
She's not triggered.
A couple of hours later...
Too soon, guys. I can't.
A couple of hours later, the sleigh made its way up the top of the North Mountain. Elsa's heart, which was already rapidly beating, began to race even faster as her ice castle came into view.
This is it.
She thought to herself as Kristoff parked the sleigh a few yards away. Once the sleigh came to a complete stop, Elsa jumped off and began running towards the castle.
Elsa, wait up.
Anna shouted as she tried to catch up with her older sister. As Elsa closed in on the flight of stairs going up to the front door of the castle, the Ice Guardian emerged from the snow and roared,
Who goes there? Wow, he's still here?
I figured he would have died alone.
Yeah.
Elsa thought to herself as she looked at the Guardian she created to originally chase off Anna and Kristoff a while back.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Kristoff muttered as he, Sven, and Olaf caught up to the girls.
Oh, so it was Elsa that didn't realize who. So Elsa brought him to life and then just abandoned him.
Yeah.
Like, wander around in the wilderness.
Don't worry, Ice Guardian, it's I, Queen Elsa of Arendelle, the very person who created you.
The Ice
Abandoned
Queen. The Ice Queen said with some authority, looking down at his creator and some authority. Looking down at his creator and mistress, the Guardian said with a deep voice,
Welcome back, my... Sorry. I keep doing the southern
It's not
voice.
like Eeyore.
Yeah. Welcome back.
it's
Oof, my voice is giving out. Welcome back, my queen. I have faithfully guarded your castle since you left, and no one has gotten past me but one.
He said with a hint of shame at that last part. However, the Guardian's news lifted the group's spirits. Eager to learn more, Anna asked,
Who was it? It was a large man who turned into a black monster with a symbol of a large spider on his chest. The Guardian answered. That's Eddie.
Elsa exclaimed. Still feeling the need to elaborate, the Ice Guardian finished by saying,
He called himself Venom, and when I tried to get rid of him, we broke into a huge fight. During the fight, I let the fact that I served the Ice Queen slip, and he instantly stopped fighting me, and he said he knew you. He then showed me a picture he had of you, mistress. He then told me that he fought for you back in the city of Arendelle.
Then we had some hot cocoa.
How do you
not
let slip the fact that you serve an Ice Queen during a fight?
They just started having a random conversation as they're having a drag-out fight.
I'm going to beat you down as I do all intruders, for I serve the Ice Queen. Is he up there now?
Elsa asked him.
Yes, my queen. After he convinced me that he was loyal to you, we managed to work out an arrangement allowing him to stay the night here before he leaves the kingdom for good tomorrow. This ice golem...
the ice monster rent?
Yeah, this ice golem is a lot more articulate than I remember him being in the movie.
He's very like he's like exposition golem at this point, right?
I like to think that he's like articulate, like the Frankenstein from the novel.
Yeah.
Anyway, madam,
reading
could you get around to murdering me as I do not want to live?
Perhaps
a glimmer
we could
of
work
hope.
out an arrangement for that.
A glimmer of hope shot through Elsa, knowing the fact that she finally found him. She was truly glad that they came looking for him that night and not the next day. She didn't even bother saying anything else before bolting up the stairs and through the front doors. As the front doors went flying open, she called out with all of her might,
Eddie, it's me, Elsa!
The others weren't too far behind her as they made their way in.
Let's split up. That way we'll find him faster.
Christoph
It's a
reasoned.
transparent castle.
Yeah.
Like, there's no secrecy in this place.
Christoph reasoned with everyone, including Elsa.
Frosted,
He then began instructing everyone on where to search.
Okay. Elsa and Anna, you two go ahead up to the next floor and search there. Me and Sven will search down here, and if we don't find him, we'll meet up with you two upstairs. Olaf, you stay here and watch the door in case Eddie was gone somewhere and comes back. And then,
like if he had to get groceries.
Yeah. And then at least we'll have someone here to find him. Olaf gave a corny salute and said, "You got it, buddy."
As the group split up, Elsa and Anna ascended the stairs to the upper level. When they made it up the flight of stairs, Anna suggested,
"Why don't I check the east wing while you check the west?"
Elsa nodded and said,
"Okay, but be careful, promise?"
Anna smiled and said,
"I promise. Now let's go bring Eddie home."
which brought a smile on Elsa's face as the two of them parted ways and began their search. About 5 minutes later, Elsa was on the far side of the west wing to the castle and still searching tirelessly for Eddie as she continued calling out his name, hoping to get a response.
"Eddie, where are you?"
I like how he says things and then shows them to you, just in case you didn't. It's like Carnage laughing and then ha 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 ha.
Right.
She hollered.
You know what ha 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 was.
She hollered as she went from room to room searching for him. Eventually, she heard something that sounded like music drifting down from another corridor.
"That's gotta be him."
Unless it's one of my other creations that I forgot about and left to die alone.
Right. Also, I don't think ice is known for being like soundproof or anything, so you should be able to just yell and like anywhere in this place you'd hear it.
Well, apparently he's cranking his music and probably like throwing in some reps, you know? She thought as she began walking quickly down that corridor. The music was getting louder, so she must be closing in on the source, closing in on Eddie. Meanwhile, Eddie was playing on the acoustic guitar he got from Oaken. He had always been a skilled guitar player, and just as skilled when it came to working on and repairing them. He knew how to play a whole cornucopia of songs on guitar. But one of his favorite acoustic songs of all time was Hollow by the band Godsmack. And that was the exact song he was playing as he sat alone in the elaborate castle bedroom. As he sang and played the song on the guitar, all of the memories of Elsa and losing her flashed through his mind. He was so in tune with the music and the memories of the one woman he loved, and so deep in his sense of hopelessness, knowing that he lost it all, that he didn't notice Elsa was standing by the bedroom door listening to him play. The song he was playing was unlike anything that she'd heard before. No doubt it was the heavy metal music that he was so fond of back in his homeland. Christoph had even learned to like some of this music ever since Eddie introduced it to the group a while back. Well, if he introduced it to the group, then she's heard it before.
Yep.
Right.
Even on the way up the mountain, Christoph was listening to Eddie's MP3 player that he left behind. Jesus Christ, and she's heard it many, many times. Although she was right in the fact that the song was metal, it was a lot slower and even sadder. Especially the way Eddie was playing it made her heart melt. She wanted nothing more than to run.
It's not heavy metal, it's dark metal, okay?
Okay, they had their earlier black metal period, but seriously, that's not even canon anymore.
It's also being played slower and on an acoustic guitar. I don't know a whole lot about heavy metal, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's tough to make something sound heavy when you're on an acoustic guitar.
Right.
That's the whole joke of Tenacious D, that they're on acoustic guitars.
Is
it?
It is?
I mean, yeah. They're an acoustic heavy metal band, and it's ridiculous.
She wanted nothing more than to run into his arms. However, she waited for him to see her first. At this point, Eddie was bringing the song to a close. As he finished it, he set the guitar down and bowed his head in defeat. Whenever he sung the line,
"I feel so hollow,"
he truly meant it.
Oh.
They also haven't clarified how he mixed the guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Elsa probably did make ice guitar strings in this castle here. So he probably did use his web, but he didn't specify.
Yeah, they tried to kind of like gloss over it with like he knew how to fix and operate guitars from, and it's like, okay, but you still need strings.
Right. And also they say that it doesn't have strings and there's other parts of it that are broken. So does Anna have, or does Elsa make like an ice like wood shop in here too or something?
I want to assume that Venom got the guitar, went outside, immediately slaughtered a reindeer, took the guts, and made strings out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He set down the guitar and stood up from the edge of the bed that he was sitting on and turned around. When he first saw the Snow Queen standing inside his room, a part of him thought it was a dream or some cruel joke.
"Hello, Eddie,"
Elsa said as a true smile of happiness came across her face. And then the true smile of happiness. Without saying a word, Eddie ran across the room and scooped her up in his arms, and he bit her head off. He couldn't help but laugh from how joyful he was feeling, knowing that he'd never truly lost her. Elsa also giggled from giddiness as Eddie pulled her close in a tight embrace. Then, without saying a word, their lips met. The kiss was everything Elsa thought and hoped it would be like. It was slow and passionate, and she couldn't help but feel like there were fireworks going off over their heads.
Oh my God.
A few moments went by before they gently pulled their heads away from one another, yet still in one another's arms. One another. Eddie then brushed a strand of hair away from Elsa's face and asked,
and then another.
"How did you find me?" "Christoph figured that you'd go the way you came to Arendelle in the first place, and I knew from experience you'd be up here."
Elsa said as a joyful tear.
I knew from experience that this author can't write anything original, and therefore he would reuse a location from the movie.
Right.
Elsa said as a joyful tear rolled down her face. As the two held one another close in their embrace, the others made their way up and found them. Anna smiled and said softly,
"It's about time."
You can't say "said softly" and then put an exclamation point at the end of your sentence. To which Christoph softly ushered everyone away and jested,
"Let's leave the new lovebirds alone, huh?"
Yeah, that's a funny joke, Christoph. But as they left to give them some privacy, Anna couldn't stop smiling as she thought,
"Finally, she has someone that can understand and appreciate her."
Woof.
Yeah. Okay.
'Cause she couldn't, being her sister and all.
Yeah.
That was like
I don't have to.
Yeah.
Finally Kristoff and I can have some free fucking time. Jesus.
Right. Also,
That was-
are they going to start banging on the ice bed in that bedroom?
Yeah.
Would Elsa care? You know, I mean,
Elsa wouldn't care. Venom probably could handle it. So I suppose.
I mean, if he's suited up,
Right.
But yeah, it's like that chapter. He obviously was like wanted to be like the Crow or whatever, right? Be
Yeah.
like, you
a
know,
little bit.
this sad emo love for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all
right.
we've got for tonight. See you Friday, hopefully. And remember, it all going according to plan. Good night.
Okay.
Good night.